All right. Well, welcome everyone. You have reached Tripping the Void with Lorilei Potvin and myself, Saraphine Hurley, and we can't wait to hear your questions or see your questions as Lorilei likes to monitor wherever we can. So this is definitely an interactive show if you haven't come across this before. And good evening, Lorilei. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I haven't had much. Gosh, we keep missing each other. We get our catch up on our show together, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
I just walked in the door because I ran out because I told you well, for people, I'm going to be posting it soon, but I'm going to be making a lot of resin pieces with the spirituality stuff I do, like grids and crystal grids and all kinds of really cool stuff. So today I decided I'm going to try a space scene that I saw, and I tried using my heat gun. And what you have to do, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. It's a big trend right now. They're blowing air on it, and the paint goes all over and marbles. And well, it wouldn't move. So I had to use my good hair dryer that was covered in resin. So I said, that's it. I'm going to Value Village, as we call it, you and
The
I,
village. Oh.
and got another hair dryer, just a cheapy one to get resin all over to do it. So I just got home at like 9 o'clock our time.
Right.
Yes, yes, I did. Mhm.
And lots of weird stuff has been happening around. I know you're going to share it here in a second, but I also had some very strange stuff happen to me, not just in Augustine, but here. So, would you like to share what
Sure.
is? Good evening, Zach. I see ya.
Good evening, Zach. We see ya. We see ya. We should remind our listeners, and I apologize for the confusion. Um, the tube, I'll call it, has decided to. We were on a break, we'll call it, for a week, and we want to give a shout out to Joe Montaldo, the owner of UPRN. He has many great shows on there, and he produces us and makes our job easy. He let the Dell know that he got, I guess, our alternative YouTube channel kicked in the last 8 minutes of his show. So you can watch us on UFO Paranormal YouTube, or you can watch us on the UPRN Facebook page, or there's UFO Paranormal on Twitch TV, because we want you guys to join in. Come and add into the comments like Zach does, and we'll try and make you guys part of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
On to the strangeness. So last night, the doll and I did a special show. We do a show every quarter, usually, with this amazing lady, Varla Ventura. She's like a wealth of knowledge with the
Hmm.
paranormal, the strange, Celtic symbology, you name it. And my neighbor says to me today about lunchtime, did you see our local rock station, music station, Facebook page? And I said, no. And she goes, there was a UFO right in our neighborhood. Where I live, it's called County Park. And yeah, there was a reported UFO. So I didn't get to see it. And of course, the people, the news reporters that reported it, it's a morning show. They asked for people to write into the Facebook page if they saw it or what they witnessed it. It was nothing but a bunch of crazy jokes people were posting. So I've yet to see anybody that's seen it yet, but I don't know who reported it.
Hmm.
The strangeness.
That is really interesting. I had a strangeness happen to me not only when on my travels, which normally does happen, but
Hmm.
not all the time. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Hmm.
But I was actually sitting on my bed, putting some stuff away this morning, and you know how you notice when you hang laundry up or whatever, and you look, kind of casually look over in the corner and go, "Oh yeah, that's over there,"
Hmm.
and it has moved or anything like that. It's just normal stuff. Well, you look up in the bathroom, and I've got my laundry hanging, right?
Hmm.
Because I've got a lot of stuff that I can't put in the dryer, obviously.
Me too.
And
Yeah. Hmm.
so I've got my hoodie and kind of like a rose pink sweater.
Hmm.
And my hoodie is there, but the sweater's not.
Oh, oh,
Sweater was just there. It's on the dry cleaner like one of
right,
the big fancy dry cleaner hanger things you would put a coat on because I don't
right.
like getting little hanger bloops in my shoulder area. So I'm like, why is it not here? So I get up and inspect just to make sure it didn't fall down
Mhm.
and whatever. And I'm looking around and I turn around and the gray sweater is gone. Like it was just
Oh,
hanging up. The
okay.
only thing that's still there is my navy blue towel that's over the towel hanger. And I'm like looking around, like, where could this be? And I walk back in the bedroom, like, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it because just like there's a lot of things in my condo that are active, and I'm like,
Mhm.
maybe it's just a glitch or something. Well, I sit back on the bed and I look up and I'm like, well, nothing's still there except for the towel. And then I look down and then the gray sweater is back.
Mhm.
I'm like, why is the gray sweater there? I mean, it's totally apparated where it wasn't there, but then it's there. And like, I get up and I look at it and there's nothing wrong with it or anything. And I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, is this a trick of my mind
Mhm.
or whatever? And I go back and sit back on the bed. I'm like, okay, this is just really bizarre. But when I left the room, the sweater still wasn't, the rose colored sweater still wasn't there. But when I went back in the room several hours later, the rose sweater was back.
I
And,
think you brought something home because I haven't had a chance to talk. I didn't really even go on social media this weekend. I had a crap load of messages to get caught up with. I didn't
mhm,
go on yesterday. I was too busy doing a bunch of other stuff. But I did look at your pictures, and there's some interesting
mhm,
things in those pictures. Because
yeah.
well, you can tell them, Seraphine, where were you this weekend?
Yeah, I was in St. Augustine, but the thing is that I quit posting a lot of stuff to my Facebook because I get tired of people stealing my stuff.
Right.
So I would rather share them with my bestie,
Yeah.
or and because not only are you going to appreciate them, but sometimes another pair of eyes is better than your own, and just to
Right.
make sure. And I took this one picture, and it's like, for some reason, I was compelled to start just taking pictures just to see how things are going to turn out.
Right.
Excuse me. I'm in a white hallway, like a regular hotel hallway, walking down the
Oh,
hallway, just
I saw that.
taking
Yeah.
taking random pictures, nothing to sneeze about. And I'm looking through the pictures and I'm like, every other picture is normal except for this one picture. It looks like I took a picture in a light box or something because there's nothing in the picture. It looks like
Blur.
I was talking about interdimensional slip or something. Like, I'm wondering if I'm starting to witness interdimensional slips. Like that picture of Doc I sent you from Sunday. He looks like he glitched. Like
Yeah, I saw that.
his ears all folded over and stuff. And it's really weird. It's like he rolled over and got I got a picture of it. But it's like there's no way that he would his ears or anything like that would sit, because you've got kitties, their ears aren't, they're not floppy or
No,
anything like
he's
that.
so cute in all the pictures, and then all of a sudden, he almost looks like a different cat.
Yeah, it's
When I be
bizarre. Like reconstituted cat.
well, Shadow Designs says because she's here too. Shannon's here.
Hey,
Shannon
Shannon.
Katie is here also. So welcome, ladies. And Shadow Designs says so. We got two comments. Did you switch timelines? And then
Mm-hmm.
Zach says, I won't say the long name, it's cigars and whiskey for me, but that's Zach. I haven't had anyone steal my social media content so far. I think it's because I'm too goofy looking. LOL. I doubt that, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
What it is though, and Seraphine, before we had the Rona, because we're going to be careful on here tonight, we don't want
Yeah.
to lose our privileges. Um, you used to do quite a bit of investigation, so
Oh
this
yeah.
is the first one, right? Since
Nope.
no,
Well, it's not really the first one, but it's the first one where I've been, out and about and stuff. And I was kind of limited because I ended up stuck with some, which Lurley have and I haven't really been had a chance to talk since I've
no,
been back. And it turns out the person that I was trying to cheer up was kind of like having an anchor around my neck.
mm,
It was, oh my gosh. You ever go with that one friend who just complains incessantly for no reason, and you think that they'd, you know, would complain if everything was brand new and they had a gold toilet and everything handed to them? That is that person. It's like,
uh,
wow.
I went with somebody that I knew, and I forget how I met her. I knew her for quite a long time. We went to Duluth, Minnesota, which is only about 3 hours away from here. And I was single. This was back in my 20s. And it didn't, I had no idea she was like this. Like in the car, she, like, if and I don't have, I mean, yes, I can talk a lot, but I not overtly usually very loud. Like I could only talk very softly because that was too loud if I, spoke at this tone. It didn't matter what I did. And then of all things, I came down with strep throat. I was super sick. So
Mm.
she wanted to go out and party, but she just, same thing, could have had a golden toilet and it wouldn't have been good enough. Everything. By the time we got back, I've never spoken to her ever since. And you know me, sir. I don't fight with people hardly ever, ever, ever.
Right.
Didn't fight with her, but like I couldn't even blink without her biatching at me. It didn't matter
Mm-hmm.
what I did. And those people are, and I understand you were trying to cheer this person up and for a good reason, but sometimes people get so lost in themselves they don't.
In their misery.
Yeah, like you said, I think that's a good term. It's like an anchor around your neck. Like it's just draining. It's soul sucking.
Mm-hmm. It's
Mm-hmm.
like no matter what, and I'm just gonna say this because there everybody's got that one friend, and I realize that I am not unique in this because I mean, Laura, you've even had it happen to you. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like driving down the road, I'm too cold. It is raining sheets outside, and the rain was cold, and I'm trying to keep it between, a decent temperature for me because I'm driving and because I've got lots of muscular skeletal issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's sitting there. I've got two blankets for her. I've got a pillow for her. I've got all of this stuff because I knew she was going to be complainer-tons,
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that it didn't matter. And then if it wasn't just the complaining, every once in a while she'd do this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like this very heavy sigh. I live with somebody like that. That
Oh my
when they
God.
go, it's like, you know what? If you got something to say, just effing say it.
Yeah.
Don't sit there with this. Like like because I'm doing my resin in the kitchen and the lights up there, so you know
Hmm.
it's aggravating. So instead of saying anything, we have to do the heavy sigh. It's like, yes, we get your message.
Hmm.
Issue, let's just discuss it like adults.
Yeah. Or even, because I'm in an area, I love St. Augustine, Florida. I'm in love
So,
with it. A lot of people think that I actually live there. I love it that much.
mhm.
No, I go there a lot pre the things that are going on right now. I was there, what would you say, probably every 3, 4 months
Yeah.
ish, maybe sooner than that. But I really enjoy the shops. I like hanging out in the Spanish Quarter, meeting people, taking pictures and stuff because I always have such unique experiences. And it's like that one time I let Laura know that something happened this last time. I was
Hmm.
in a very different part of the hotel that I normally stay in because, well, I didn't really have a lot of control
Hmm.
over it because my friend got the hotel,
Okay.
and I was thinking, wouldn't be far off from something that I would have chosen. And there wasn't anything remarkable about the rooms that I normally get, but normally I know what area of the hotel I like to stay in.
Hmm.
Well, with all of that being said, it's like I went and it was closer to the road on the back end of the hotel. And this is the what they call the historic Howard Johnson's in St. Augustine, Florida. It's no longer Howard Johnson's anymore.
Hmm.
Um, it's like latitude 1658 or something weird like that. And so I'm looking over because it had this overhaul, and so I'm taking pictures and stuff like that, and I put everything down. Us girls, we have decent amounts of stuff that we take with us even for
Hmm.
short trips. So I have my bags over one side of the room. She's got her bags over on the other side of the room where her bed is. And I've got the lights on, and then I go over to the bathroom and turn the light off. And I go sit on the bed, and she's outside having a smoke break.
Hmm.
And I'm checking out my stuff, and I look over and there's somebody staring at me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it took me a minute cuz you sit there and like maybe it's some Fig Newton of my imagination. Nope. It's like somebody was standing in the bathroom
Hmm.
watching me, and then I turn and watch, and all of a sudden she gets up, pokes her face kind of out the corner of the door,
Mm-hmm.
and then turns and walks into the closet and disappears.
Wow. So it was a
So
female.
a little girl. That'd be like a young female.
You
Yeah.
guys, well, yeah, I don't have to tell you that, but for our listeners with these little girls. So I'm going to ask you what you've always taught me. How did it make you feel? Do you think it was something creepy in disguise, or was it actually a little girl?
I'm not sure. I tried to not think too far into it because it
I
was
gotcha.
the first instance of it. And then um, the second time that it happened, I was just kind of seeing whether or not, it was going to change or not, because I had seen something else kind of linger around in the room as well.
Mm-hmm.
And besides the pictures and everything, and oh, yes, and realizing that your friend that you're with is actually kind of a Karen is kind of a hard road to hoe when you yourself try to give everybody some patience and tolerance and everything else, and you're with this fire breathing thing that is basically annihilating anything that is different within her path. And it's like, I actually had to have a talk with her because I had my windows down, and I know the area pretty well, so I can go through corridors or whatever, since my car is so small.
Mm-hmm.
uh, going down side streets because I kind of know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
And we see this couple walking their dog, and it's got to be like 10:30 at night or whatever, right? And she sees that there are two men, the
Mm-hmm.
one more feminine than the other,
Right.
walking a really beautiful German Shepherd. She's like, "Oh, what a beautiful dog. Oh my gosh, it's two men." And she starts going off. I'm like, "By the way, this is their neighborhood,
Not ours.
not our neighborhood. They're gracious enough." She's like, "Just going past them. They're taking up the whole road." I said, "This is their home. I will wait." I was standing back with the car because they were walking down the middle of the road. Because if you've seen St. Augustine, the roads are not wide at all. In fact, my car is perfect because it's really small, and
Mm-hmm.
because only a smaller car will be able to go down some of the side streets. And um, but I'm hanging all the way back because I don't want to be intimidating with two people trying to go about their evening business with their animal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to
If it
get.
was you and I, we probably would have said, "Oh my God, we love your dog. We're
Yeah, I did. I
talking
did.
away."
I'm like, "Oh, your dog is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Have a great night."
Mm-hmm.
But here she is in her big booming voice. "Oh my God, are they gay?" And I'm like, "Does it?" I said it. I said, "It doesn't. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. They're having a nice evening. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna go to our hotel room, and you're gonna shut the f up."
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to read our comments here for a minute. Shadow Design says, I have someone steal my psychic experiences and tell us stories like they are hers. I have to keep to myself now. And then she says, you don't really know someone until you travel with them. Absolutely.
Oh my
100%.
gosh.
Then
Yeah,
she
it's
also
true.
said, Zach said, we got a few comments here. Zach said, as the old saying goes, misery loves company, not the company I would spend time with. And then Shadow Design says she isn't listening, I hope. Well, if I know Sarah well enough, she's already discussed some of this with her anyways. I'm sure
Oh
she's
yeah.
there. Like Sarah wouldn't
Oh,
discuss
I'd
with
I'd give I'd give her both barrels anyway. She knows
her.
I
Hmm.
have a show. She
Hmm.
knows. So
That's going to come up.
I'm actually kind of doing this on purpose because
Hmm.
that's the kind of bee I am.
Hmm. Good way to clear the air.
Guess who is not coming with me again?
Yep, that's what. Oh, that's what happened to my trip to Duluth. We never went again. I never talked to her again. Shannon says, my husband was driving me crazy on a road trip once. I told him I was giving him Advil pain meds. I actually gave him 2 sleeping pills. I got all my shopping done while he slept. I love
Here's a
it.
cup
Oh,
of shut the F up.
and then Zach says St. Augustine is the bomb. Can't wait to go back because Rob Autry, who does Weird Wednesdays on YouTube,
Mhm.
and he's also part of Jason Land's Paranormal Soup on Sunday nights. He lives in St. Augustine, so I know Zach visited with him. And then Shannon says it was awesome regarding the sleeping pills. She goes, we both laugh about it now.
I don't know. Too many people would be too jazzed about that. I mean, I've purposefully, because I'm not a very good passenger when there's lots of traffic, because I've
Mhm,
been the passenger in several really bad car accidents, and
mhm.
so I get intense when it's like pouring down rain
Right.
or things like that. And that's one thing that my friend commented on. She's like, "You're just so intense, and I didn't realize how intense you are." It's like, lady, I am driving the car. Will
Yeah,
you
but
stop?
yeah, restart that. Sorry, guys. My phone last night, I got a little water on it making coffee. Not even in the port, my brand new phone. It wouldn't charge. It kept dying. And now the other phone I was going to use, it's now in the spinning wheel of death. So I'm just going to grab my laptop while I'm talking to you guys here. Take me 2 seconds to reboot it here in case I need it. It's
Right.
now, though.
But yeah, you never really know anybody. And but the disappointing thing, since we're talking about our night of Karens and Revenge of the
Mhm.
Karens, is that when you find out that your friend is a Karen, it's really disheartening. Where I realize that she's an older person and she's, you know, a little more straight than most of my friends are. And I'm not saying that everybody I know is so over the top the other way. I'm just, more people I know are more forgiving and
Yeah.
give, like Lauralee and myself, we give people, enough room. You don't just cower over people and say, well, this is the right way because it's my way. You don't do that to people. People aren't subject to, like, I don't expect anybody, including the person that was with me, to, kowtow to my rules or whatever, because it's basically my trip that you've been invited on. Well, no, that's not fair. So I didn't expect her to share in some of the stuff that I was getting into or whatever. But there's so many things that happened that were bad on the trip, and I ended up coming home early
I wonder
because
why
she
you
was
were
too
back.
cold. Yeah, because she got too cold. I woke up in the morning because I have insomnia like you do too.
Yeah.
I can't sleep, and so and my phone took a giant dump, and
Oh,
for
no.
I had a lot of electronic problems, a lot of really freakish.
Mhm,
Because I have a newer iPhone, like most of y'all do, and
mhm,
my phone should be able to get a signal on another planet.
mhm.
My phone is usually really good with that. This trip, I was so upset that I couldn't talk to somebody that I really need to be talking to, and couldn't, um
Mhm.
because my phone, it didn't even come back on for phone calls or text messages, and like till 2:34 in the morning. It was almost an entire full day for my phone to come back up.
I'm wondering if maybe it was the energy there, maybe.
I'm wondering, and then I know a lot of places are putting in use signal jammers and stuff like that because they don't like people using their Wi-Fi. But I wasn't even using. I have an iPhone. I don't need your Wi-Fi permission.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Zach says he comes from a family of Kens and Karens. I think up here in Canada we call them Kyles. Uh, but you know what, Zach, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I know a person that either doesn't have a friend that we're now referring to, or a family member, especially families, or many in the family that are like this.
Hmm.
It's well, you know what? I wondered why you were back Sunday, and kind of sad about that for you because I know how much you love going there and you were really excited about it. And
Hmm. And I couldn't do hardly anything because I had an anchor around my neck. The moment I wanted to do something, the fortunate thing, I had our squeaky spirit guide telling me, well, you need to bring this and you need to bring that. And so I brought my Jack Skeleton blankie. I brought my car blanket, which is a little pink lap blanket that
mhm,
you can wrap around your shoulders if you're cold.
mhm.
Um, I actually turned the heater on for the first time since I've been in Florida, period, ever,
God, she better
on
not
that
come
trip.
up where I live.
Oh, because it was cold in there, because they didn't even have blankets on the bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, normally there's like a blanket or a bedspread or something. There wasn't any of that. It's like they made the bed with a sheet and a blanket, like we're on some kind of a psych ward or whatever,
Wow.
and didn't put an actual blanket on it. And I'm like, I called over the front desk. I'm like, can I get a couple of blankets because my friend is really cold?
Mhm.
And she's like, I guess if you come, because I'm by myself, and I'm like, okay, I will come after when we come back from dinner. I'll come in and get the blankets.
Mhm.
And it's like, so you really do have blankets. So they were actually nice blankets, and so I laid them on the bed.
Mhm.
And fortunately, because our friend the spirit guide, I brought the heating pad, and so I
Right.
put the heating pad in the bed and put the blankets over the heating
Oh my
pad,
God.
and made sure
Mhm.
that she had enough pillows.
Mhm.
And I'm like, do you need anything or whatever? It's like we went to the Village Inn, which I like to go to because there's not too many Village Inns, like the old school ones that are
Mhm.
still around. And so I had a little dish of mashed potatoes with gravy because I really didn't want much. And here she is ordering like the biscuits and gravy. I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, if you
Mhm.
want a little something, you don't order biscuits and gravy because it's going to be a big platter of food.
Oh, wow, really?
She got it and ate like 2 bites of it and was like, "Oh, well, I'm sick and I can't eat it." And I'm like, "Why didn't you?" Because she was making fun of me and my mashed potatoes, which
Mhm.
came in this tiny little dessert
Right.
kind of thing. And it's like, it's because I know that I can't eat too much at one time, and I knew that I needed something hot in my tummy. I just didn't. Oh, she complained about the hot chocolate as well. It's like she's like, "And it's like hot chocolate water," and I'm like, "It probably comes from a machine, but if you want me to take you to Starbucks, I will go find a Starbucks for you." Oh no, it's fine now, and I'm like,
One,
"Oh my
I
god."
I mentioned it, and like you and I have talked about this before. If we went away, we don't have chronic pain. Like if
Uh
we
huh.
stuff together, we'll do it. If we don't, then you know what? No problem. You go do your thing. I'll go do
Yep,
mine, and
and we'll meet in the
we'll
middle.
kind of meet in the middle. But probably more than likely, we like if I went to St. Augustine's, I wouldn't know where to go. I'd go everywhere you went if you wanted me
Yeah,
to come. And
of course.
you know what happened? Okay, so maybe it's with traveling with other people. Like I think you gave her the gold standard there. I don't know too many people. She would, even if she was in a high-end hotel, that would put a heating pad underneath the blankets to make sure the bed was warmed up. But um the Dell and his best friend, he's got so many friends named John, so he nicknames him also Marty. You know who Marty is.
Yeah.
Sarah's seen him before, but anyways, they Dell and him used to go to Kidott, Wisconsin for Rock Fest every year.
Right.
Dell and I were going out, and he wasn't too happy I was coming, and because it's only supposed to be the guys and whatever. We went and we had so much fun. To this day, Dell's other friend, Willie, says his real name's Jonathan, but Willie still goes on and on and on that I guess he asked Marty, how was Laura during the trip? And apparently I was A1 steak sauce. I was there to have fun. I wanted to go to a
Right.
concert. What's to complain about? And I'm not high maintenance. So
I
that's
am.
right there. Well, you are, but you're not. You are, but you're not. To me, high maintenance is a Karen that
Right.
nothing's good enough, or like we were. What made me think about that? I must have been on the same wavelength as you because
Mhm.
you already had the banner made. I sent you a message and you had the banner made. Say, oh heck yes, we're doing this because we're seeing more and more and more of this, and it's
Oh my
so
gosh,
stereo.
entitled people. Oh my god.
Yeah, like stereotypical, especially excuse me. I mean,
Bless
there's
you.
memes, there's gifs or gifs, however you want to call them.
Mhm.
Can I speak to your manager? And heck no, well, it says hell no, Karen. Like all kinds of things like this. They've got the classic haircut, usually middle-aged woman, and it's like from Kate and whoever plus eight. Remember when she used to have that short hairdo with the
Oh
big bob
gosh.
in the
Yeah,
back?
that horrible, horrible mom haircut.
Well, what we were watching today, and this just floored me. Uh, the Dell found it by accident, came up in his stream, and it's an ex-Marine from the US, and he's really fair. I had no idea how common stolen valor is in the US in
Oh
particular.
geez. Yeah, I deleted. Hold that thought for a second. Today, just today was a record.
Mhm.
I deleted by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I deleted 26 people just today. Just today.
For stolen valor, Karens, or just
for Karen's stolen valor. A bunch of people, people are coming on trying to portray themselves, and then there one sick idiot, which I'm not even going to say what happened, but I'm going to share with you later, or
okay.
show you what happened. But disgusting. It's like, seriously, it makes me want to take down all of my social media because it's just gross.
Oh my gosh. Because
Yeah.
for those of you that are listening that may not know what stolen valor is, and the Dell and I hadn't heard of it before, because let's just say our military is not what the U.S. military is, and no offense to anybody that serves in our country either. It's just I could not believe this. So what he does is he reviews video clips of people that are pretending to be high up in the military. And heck, I don't know a thing about the military. You would spot it immediately, Seraphine, with your what your
Hmm.
dad to do. But I can spot it. Like they've got all these medals all askew, and the pants don't match with the jacket, and they maybe picked a fake general's hat up at the dollar store, and so
Hmm.
he reviews these, and he's pretty fair considering, really fair about it. But I mean, he never runs out of videos. Like it just blows my mind
Hmm.
to people that do this. Many of them, and this is coming from his channel, that are doing this, like because people, and that's what I love about Americans. You really, really thank your military. You respect them. I've heard of people being out. You'll buy a meal for them or whatever, and that's what
Hmm.
these people are doing, is to get free food or get a
Yeah.
discount or.
Or get cash or something, or say start GoFundMe's. These
Oh, yeah,
people,
that too. Yeah, yeah. He
yeah,
started.
and some of them, it's like if you're not in the military or from a military family, it doesn't matter if you're U.S. or other, that there's a succession of how your uniform is dressed.
Hmm.
That even the
That's
ribbons
what
or
he. That's what he reviews, Sarah. He's awesome, actually.
yeah,
Like he tells people, he's very educational. Hmm.
yeah, I've seen him. He's great, but um and that people just go, well, I have this and this and this and this. It'll just go together like it's a fashion statement. It's like, you can tell somebody who's been in the military in actuality by the way they hold themselves and what they actually are wearing.
Well, you know what he said? The number one reason why you can usually tell when he reviews it is people make an excuse, or some of them are pretty smooth, but you can see right through the BS. He said any
Mhm.
that served in the military, especially that high up, first of all, you're going to have a little gray around the edges, especially if you're, say, a general with this, or like
Mhm.
saying he was a general in the Navy, and apparently this guy said there are no generals in the Navy, only in the Army. I wouldn't know that.
Mhm.
But so, like I said, for me, it was very educational, and for Dahl too. But there was things like that. And but the thing that I kept seeing were a lot of people that had mental illness. And I think there probably were some people into the autism spectrum too that were very obsessed with the military. But then there were real con artists too, and whatever. So
Mhm.
I watched quite a few of these videos, but he was really fair. Like if somebody really, it appeared that they were mentally ill, he was really kind about it. Still didn't think it was a good thing, and was sort of trying to educate the public, which I like. But he did Karens today.
Mm.
Oh my Lord. One thing I do want to read though is, before I say it, is Zach says, stolen valor is very common here. That's in Arizona. He said it's horrible and a disgrace to all those brave men and women who served or are serving. What I will tell you though, Zach, how he gets these videos is somebody has caught them and has them on camera. And there's actually quite a few people that are filming them that are quite fair. And then he's even made the comment that most of the guys that I have served with, he said, I don't even know if they'd go after somebody with a camera, like to say, what are you doing? Like they might say something, but without a camera, he said,
Mhm.
but nonetheless, it's out there. So back to the Karens, I'll mention this, and I'm sure you have lots to share too. We want to hear
Mm.
Karen stories too, you guys. Um, this woman was in a CVS, and she had no mask on. And I guess the manager said, "Where's your mask?" And she said, "I'm perfectly healthy. I don't need to wear a mask." And she said, "I don't get," there was a lot of misinformation that was spread by the employees there. So finally, though, the manager said, I need you to leave. And this woman kept saying, I'm sick of it. I don't care. I'm healthy. Look at me. And all she was in there for was a corkscrew and some Epsom salt. She made that very clear.
Mm,
She spent 25 minutes to 30 minutes arguing with this manager about why she doesn't need to wear a mask, why she shouldn't wear a mask. Now, I understand about taking a stand, but when there's other people in the store behind you waiting in line while you were having your meltdown, there was
mm-hmm,
one from the somebody was filming her. There was an older woman in behind leaving the store, and she's going, get her out, get her out. Like, so why would you do that? Like, you know what?
mm-hmm.
You had to just stick your mask on for 2 seconds,
Yeah.
go get your stuff and get out. Because like he said, and I appreciated what he was saying, was people aren't entitled when it's a private business. You don't have a right to enter. You're trespassing if you've been asked to leave.
Yep.
And I could see an argument ensuing either way, I guess, that, she kept saying, you're being prejudiced because I won't wear a mask. And just going on and yelling and carrying on. Or one other thing I'll add, and then I want to hear from you, Sarah. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so long,
That's right.
is how many people I've seen here in Canada, especially, that are going after people with a medical exemption who've already spoken to the manager of a store, and the police were called on this one woman. This other one was screaming and yelling, this Karen, traipsing around the store, following this woman, get her out. And it's like, what is going on? I don't get this.
Yeah. I was actually telling somebody earlier today, I believe that the Karens that are manifesting,
Hmm.
I've never seen videos from anywhere that's not America or Canada. It's always American
And
issue,
I,
or being North American,
mhm,
kind of thing,
mhm,
that and that including
I agree.
Canada. But because you're not going to see somebody in the UK grab somebody or tell somebody else's kid off or whatever, just randomly, unless it's somebody's neighbor or somebody that they
Mhm,
know. But the people with the Karen phenomenon is all these people who feel so entitled, and they're usually around, yes, we're going to say it, around a certain age range.
mhm,
Some of them have been a little bit younger, but mostly not.
mhm.
And they are the ones that think they know it all. And it's like, it must be nice to get to a certain area in your life and think that you have the secret to everything good. But what gives you the balls to go up to somebody that you don't even know and get in their face? That is not ever okay. I don't care what planet you are from. You don't get in somebody's face
Mhm.
ever. That is just not all right.
Especially in the US, like, I kept thinking, what if one day somebody had a gun and just
Yeah.
lost it with you screaming at them? And it's always this very, like Shannon added, our world is becoming full of people who feel they are entitled to everything. And you are
Mhm.
so right. Like, just arrogance. Like this one I watched, this woman was in the liquor store in the US, and I think it was because she didn't have a mask on too, and she wanted to buy booze, and she's going, you're far big or something, like, I'm above your pay grade by probably a million, and this is a
Oh,
Black American Express card, and like, just
oh, jeez.
why? I don't, and like you said, I think you picked the perfect words there. They're manifesting.
Yeah,
Like, where are you coming
they're
from?
like breeding, like
Yeah.
that cartoon from like the 50s with Bugs Bunny and the little aliens from Mars, and
Hmm.
they're all over the place, and they're little, Marvin the Martians just everywhere.
Hmm.
It's like all of a sudden we've got these Karens and Kyles everywhere. It's
Hmm.
like you don't know where they're coming from, and there are some guys that do it, but it's mostly women,
It
and I
is.
don't know why that is. And then you've got the ones um
Excuse me. Hmm.
in the gay communities as well that are coming out, and it's like you're not making it easier for other people by coming out and being jerks. It's like you're making it harder for other people. Don't do that. People have worked really hard to get where they're at, and you're going to just make people look like a bunch of fools.
Well, my fear is, and this isn't, we should wish everybody, I know we're a day late, but happy International Women's Day.
Yes.
But what my fear is the age group in the 20s and up and coming that have been led to believe, and I'm seeing this a lot too, where, you can do anything, which is a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on that,
Mm-hmm.
but led to believe that they're so powerful and strong. And how many girls are out belting men and then, crying foul if someone hits them back. And
Yeah.
I don't condone violence, but
Yeah.
you start it, and then using the excuse, you hit me, I'm a woman. What gives you the right to haul off full fist and cold cock a guy or keep hitting him, and he can't stop you, and so he hits you back or he pushes you and you're all affronted. And I'm seeing this more and more and more with this younger generation, thinking again, I think
Mm-hmm.
we're just keep migrating into Karens. I don't know what the solution is, because I'm seeing this a lot. Are you?
Yeah, we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to put our foot down and go back to things as you and I know them, where not everything is fair. And you know what? There's rules. Like, just because it's your custom to just go out and pee in everybody's Wheaties, that doesn't mean that's okay. It means that you need to haul back and like shovel your crap together and not be as upfront and bold in your isms and dial it back like 5 or 6 notches and realize that not everybody feels the same way that person does. It's like I realize and elect to understand that not everybody has my views, as unfortunate as that is. I do not have the right to
Hmm.
go around and tell people that it's wrong for them to believe otherwise.
I agree, and we are seeing this in all kinds of things. The funniest video I did see, and funnily enough, it was a Karen. Excuse me. There was a really beautiful girl. She's a model. She's hearing impaired, but she's able to speak. But she has you can tell that she's hearing impaired. So she had this cute little hat on. She was dressed so cute. And her friend was with her, and they were going into a grocery store. So they took a keychain ring and fishing line, and they tied it to their cart. And then while they were going down the aisle, and this Karen happened to be there, she kind of waved her hand like a hocus pocus, kind of like woo, 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 and then she hit the ring, and it looked like the cart was following her all over.
Mhm.
Oh my Lord, this woman, this Karen, screaming at them. I saw that. Stop that magic. You're witches. You're witches. This doesn't belong here. And starts following them all around the store, screaming at them, screaming at them. And they kept going, I don't know what you're talking about. We're not witches. And then, so when they see her peeking around the corner, they go, like kind of the hocus pocus with the wave.
Uh-huh.
And I do it again. And then finally, when the woman was like practically bursting a gasket, they said, "Oh, you mean this magic?" And they pulled off the ring with the fishing line, handed it to her. And I think they said something to the effect of, "Not everything appears as it seems." And they walked out. Well,
Mhm.
wouldn't you know, Karen decides to stick it on her finger and start doing the same thing to try it out herself after all the grief she gave these girls.
Of course.
Mhm.
Because what is it that people do when they're, a lot of the lashing out and the argumentative entitlement comes from places of pain
Mhm.
where they're like, well, you hurt me and so I'm entitled to, you know, doing whatever I want because you hurt me, or you think that I look like a soccer mom, so I'm just going to spoil your day because I am a soccer mom.
Yeah, but I think it comes to, and you and I talk about this so many times, and I'm going to read Shannon's comments because it's important. It adds to the conversation.
Mhm.
But, y- you know, the power of your words, your thoughts, and your emotions. everything is energy on this
Yes.
planet.
Hello. Thank you. I was just going to say that.
Yeah, Nike Spirit Guide.
Yep.
But the problem is that if you've had a bad day, your whole, and I had to remind myself this, I think a couple weeks ago, I got up and like everything just, I got a flat tire, everything went wrong. And I went, nope, nope, I got to practice what I preach.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean the whole day has to go this way. Now,
Nope.
I stayed in that mood and yeah, probably would have went that way. No, it turned around. The power of your thoughts are so incredible. And I know people think it's a bunch of woo woo. It's not. I mean, science is starting to prove these kind
Hmm.
of things. I mean, even think
Yes.
water experiments or with plants. One plant sits in a corner being told it's hated and swearing and negativity. The other one, every time people went by, told that they loved it and you're so gorgeous, you're beautiful, whatever. The one plant with all the positivity was absolutely growing aboundingly. It was beautiful. The one that got all the negativity was withering, brown, and dying. So go figure. So if you're having a crappy day or some,
Hmm.
you know, done you wrong, you got to remember that everybody's not that person that did whatever they did to you, and you got to get
Yep.
over it. And I'm not
Yeah.
talking about loss or anything,
Yeah.
but it,
Uh,
go
I
ahead.
was going to say that I saw a really nice um, little quote, and it says, "You need to quit bleeding on people that didn't cut you."
Oh, I like that. I really like that.
And that's a good one for Karen. Wherever you are, Kyle, don't bleed on people that did not cut you.
Or nobody cares how much money you have.
Yeah.
Or that you got a black Amex card or whatever it is, because you know what, honey? We're all just walking each other home, and when we leave, you can't take it with you. You
Nope.
stay here when you leave, when you cross and decide not to go back home or whatever your beliefs are. It's pretty miserable, lonely existence staying on this plane because you
Mhm.
want to stay with your Black American Express card. And I have met people like that have become earthbound spirits because they're
Mhm.
ready to leave.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
wanted to read these comments if that's okay, Sarah.
oh, go right.
Shannon says, these entitled kids are now entering the workforce. I shake my head at the attitudes of, in quotations, you need to be thankful I work here.
Uh,
And then I never in 23 years of being a nurse have said, that's not my job. These kids now say it every second sentence.
mhm.
And then Zach says, I had a Bible thumping Karen call me a devil worshiper because of the rings I wear. They're pretty cool. I like your rings, Zach. They're all different types of skull rings. It says, she told me she used to be in a cult. And I kept thinking, darling, you're probably still in that cult, the cult
Mhm.
of Karen. LOL.
Yes. Nice.
Just joined a different one.
Right?
There was a comedy out there with Joel. I'm trying to remember what his name was. It wasn't on that long, but it was pretty funny. And he ran a magazine and he worked with, and I hate this term, but millennials. And it was exactly what you're saying, Shannon. And they made it into a comedy. And it was like not being able to deal with failure, not being able to deal with all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe it starts with raising kids. Like, don't get me wrong. If you've got preschoolers or kindergartners
Mhm.
learning, playing, any kind of sport, for example. Yes, it's okay to have everybody as a winner.
Mhm.
But once you get into grade school, that needs to stop
Yeah.
because if we keep having these kind of things where everybody's a winner, what's the impetus to strive to improve, to do your best rather than just do the bare minimum to get by because, it doesn't matter. Everybody gets an award anyway. And then
Yeah.
the real comeuppance is when these kids get into the workforce or into real life and realize that's not life. Life is not fair. Somebody wins and a lot of people lose.
Yeah. And you also have, and that was a great point. Um, that I was noticing, people aren't saying excuse me or pardon
Yeah.
me when they're going past you, and but they look really super upset that you're in their way,
Mhm,
but not excuse me or anything.
mhm.
And I was going to say normally, because I do this to people I know that are acting impatient in front of me, I'm like, excuse me works, you know, because I know you. And it's like, and I'll be joking. I'll say, hey, hey, because I know I wouldn't have to say it to you, Laura, but as
Mhm.
example, I'd be like, hey, Laura, you could, use
Yeah,
excuse me.
yeah, and I will.
I would have heard you, but you already do that. But the thing
Mhm.
is, a lot of people, it's like they've forgotten common courtesy is not so common anymore, or
Or
um,
common sense.
or common sense is not. Yes, exactly. Common sense is not so common anymore. It's like everybody's just entitled to be in their space, and you be in their space when they're trying to use space. It's like, dude, you're going to be in a world of hurt when you realize that your opinion does really not matter.
And it doesn't. It doesn't.
Nope, except to you.
Yeah, it matters to you, or maybe, people in your tiny
Mm-hmm.
inner circle or bubble, but that's I don't know how to change that. I don't not mean me, but how society can change this view because
There has to be a global consciousness, or we're getting ready for one big shakeup again.
I had a weird dream. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, and it has been haunting me, you guys. I'm going to share it with everybody. I actually fell asleep in the afternoon on the weekend. I don't normally do that. And I wish to God I had wrote this down because I remember waking up, hearing my guide say, "Do not forget this." And all I kept hearing, something is coming. Something is coming. Something powerful is coming. I don't know what it is. I'm not trying to do fear mongering or anything, but it's something that important. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting with this going, okay, what did you tell me in that dream? Because I remember, like I said, specifically, and and we talk about this before your feet hit the floor, write it down.
Yeah.
I didn't, and it's driving me crazy because it has something to do with what's going on with this world.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's something major that's going to shift or change, and don't know what it is. Hopefully, it'll come to me eventually, but
Yeah. I'm
mm,
all these people, and it's not just Karens and Kyles. It's like there's more people out there. And I know, when you have conversations, like I have conversations with people who send me emails or whatever,
mhm,
and even if it's not a phone conversation, you find this underlining entitlement when you read between the lines of certain things. It's
mhm.
like, well, this is really crummy because it's happening to me, not because of any other reason other than you deserve better than what is happening to you, and oh my gosh, it needs to stop because ABC, I'm better than this. It's like,
Maybe we're getting mixed. People are getting mixed up with the power of positive thinking because,
yeah.
there's two very, yes, it's good to maintain a positive that this is important to me kind of thing. But I'm going to put a good little secret out there that if you're hoping that something's really important to you, and even if you believe in the power of manifestation or law of attraction, one of the things that's important with the law of attraction is not to be putting it out there with other people, because there are people, and I'm not being negative, but there are people that you may not see, you may not feel, that may be jealous. They
Mm-hmm.
not want it to happen for you. Not everybody's going to like us.
Yeah.
Do that energy can very much muddy the manifestation process. So it's a good idea to keep it to yourself unless you 100% pretty well
Mm-hmm.
know the person you're going to share it with really has your back and is very supportive and wants it to happen for you.
Exactly. And that's why I'm not trying to be encouraging to be secretive, but there's a lot of people out there that don't care whether or not you try to get or further yourself in any way. And that's why I try to keep my personal life private, because I don't like people trying to um, be a jerk
Mm,
about things that are my business.
mhm.
And the one thing that I noticed, that people that you think are really close to you or whatever, I mean, you would think that they would want things to be good for you or whatever, things that you would share something with, like I can share anything with Lorilei.
Yeah.
She would, I mean, even if I sat down and told her that I murdered my neighbor, she'd be like, oh wow. She wouldn't be like,
Bring a shovel.
exactly. She's my ride or die. But the
Exactly.
thing is, if I, other people close to me, I'm really noticing, and I'm not being skeptical here, that some people that I thought were really close to me really aren't. It's like when they're trying to throw me under the bus, or like something was said earlier today that made me think like, why do I even talk to you? Because you're just a douche every time I say anything. It's like life isn't an endless stream of endless conversations where you can just one up your way through. That's not how give and take works. When you have relationships with people, you are helping them up, you are being there for them, you know even sometimes at your own detriment, but you're still there for them no matter what you're going through. You don't sit there and you're like, oh, you feel like crap, here, let me trip you so that you fall on your face a little faster.
Mhm.
It's like, what kind of a friend does that?
You and I've had these conversations privately, and I've told
Yeah.
you, I don't know if I'm growing some balls in my old age or what, but I've often said to Sarah, "You're a better person than I am." But one of my things that I'm learning right now, and it was a long time coming, boundaries. And and I've said this, and I won't ever give anything away, but I've said this to you before. When some people say the things that they do,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a friend. That is not a friend in
Oh
any
yeah.
form.
That is completely effed up, some of the stuff that gets said, and it's not
And you
only
deserve it.
yeah,
Hmm.
and it's not only that they're what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, spirit guide. Um it's that that person is just constantly in a state of, if you're not praising and worshiping me in some regard, I don't have any regard for your conversation at all. And it's like, why do you think that I am not, you know, really wanting to talk to you? Because you don't want to have anything to do with a conversation unless it has something to do with you
That person.
personally.
Hmm. Well, we're
So,
seeing a real overrun of narcissism. I
yes.
think that goes hand in hand with Karen's and Kyle's, and we're seeing it
Mhm.
there. And I know Shao Designs is, I now remember the name, Dr. Ramani on um, YouTube is excellent. There's a couple other great doctors on there that can help you manage this. And, I always believed years ago that narcissism was what it was named after, right? That, the person sitting in the mirror going, oh, aren't I beautiful? Oh, I'm so incredible. I'm the best.
Right.
Yes, we do get that. But it's also many other things, like exactly what you just described. And it's all about me, 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 me. And like I said, it's an overrun of this. And again, I don't know what it is or why, um, but it's scary. I do want to add, sorry, I got distracted here, but I do want to read Shannon's comment. She said, Lorilei, Lois T. Martin, that was a guest that I had, the numerologist, a few
Mhm.
years ago, told me the exact same thing. Something is coming. And if you'll notice, we have that hashtag on this show always, something
Mhm.
coming. Oh, it's 11:11 as I say that.
Mhm.
And that was from you,
Alright.
Sarah. And I like it because I do believe something is coming. And
Yep.
she said, but seriously, if you pay attention to the world right now, the energy feels like it does when a storm is brewing. I agree.
Mhm.
She said, energy is climbing and everything feels unstable. And I have to agree with you. But there's a really simple way to solve this. But the problem is, as I understand, if you're dealing with a narcissist, this is something that started in childhood. And Dr. Romani's and again, she's not the be all to the end all. I've watched quite a few of her videos and other people. She's just the name I can remember right now. But that she'll say, I can get a narcissist so far, but when it comes to empathy or thinking of others, she goes, they will never, ever, ever learn that skill. That is a skill that needed to be acquired at a very young age as a child, and they've missed that. And she gets into the reasons and why, and they won't, and they don't get it. They don't see why a relationship never works out, why they'll have friends and then friends will just don't want anything to do with them, or but they
Mhm.
can't see it.
Yeah, and it's always somebody else's fault. It's never
Yep.
anything on them.
Yep.
It's always because that person is wrong and they're right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's always that amount of bellyache where, oh my God, it's always me and I can't get out of it. And it just makes you want to take that person and just bash them in the head like a harp seal. Seriously, what is wrong with people? It's like, do you realize that even if statistically,
Mm-hmm.
if you statistically were to do everything right in any kind of relationship, that's still at least 50% of that relationship that went bad is still on you.
It's always on. It takes two people to have
Yeah.
a relationship, but the thing
Uh-huh.
is I've never understood. First of all, and I usually have a very small inner circle, but growing up, especially a lot of the women that I had in my group, it was always about competition, and it's like, no, you do you, and then I'll do me. Like I'll be happy for you, you be happy for me.
Yeah.
Happened. And then, like there's two things here. And again, I don't know if I'll ever see a narcissist be able to get this part, but it goes hand in hand with theory of mind with a child, like in the toddler age to preschool that starts developing, realizing that if I pinch you, it hurts. Versus
Mhm.
if you pinch me, it's like you pinched me, like believing, not realizing that, but you see this with little kids. We all have.
Mhm.
And it's a big thing with autism, missing that part with theory of mind, but we're seeing this with narcissists too.
Mhm.
They just do not get it. And like I'm really glad you brought this up, that Sarah, that it's never their fault. There's
Mhm.
gaslighting that comes up too, where
Mhm.
they will tell you that I told you that, and you start second guessing yourself all the time, like, well, maybe did I miss that, or like what's going on here? So the only answer I guess I can say is it to this as a suggestion is it's very simple. Do unto others as you would have done to you, which means
Mhm.
I know you may know this, Sarah, but and many people watching, but some may not. Ask yourself, how would I like to be treated in this situation? If you lose your temper or whatever you do, that happens, go back and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Because that's the big
Mhm.
thing for me. I've never understood also what this is about, that this need to be right.
Oh yes, the right itis or the last word itis.
Hmm. What is that about? Like,
Yeah.
really feel that good to know, well, I was right. Who cares? Again, we go back to, if it doesn't make any difference 10 years from now, let alone 10 minutes from now, let it go. Pick
I,
your battles.
I know. Do you want that on your tombstone?
I do. I need that on my tombstone. But
I
but
was right.
no, not that I was right. I thought you were gonna say it doesn't make any difference 10 minutes now, let
No,
alone.
the people that have the last word itis.
Oh,
I have
oh
the
yeah.
last word.
Or I said so or whatever. I've seen some tombstones like that.
Mhm.
But I don't get it. And the beautiful thing is, I've even messaged you, I think today, Sarah, I said this to you, that like, so I'm learning how to do this resin stuff. It's not turning out maybe the picture or whatever. But the beautiful thing about it is that's how we learn. When we make mistakes, but at least we've tried. You know what I mean? Like you're going to
Mhm.
try it, and maybe you're going to add your own spin or your own flair, or discover something else instead of copying other people. Like you
Mhm.
like a post, I think it was today or yesterday, about people that are jealous, signs that people are jealous. And I thought that that was really important because a lot of people may not pick up on those things.
Yeah, and it's sometimes a jealousy that maybe they're not going to recognize, but
Mhm,
it's more of a jealousy that you're going to recognize that they're jealous
mhm,
because it's going to come out like I noticed with my friend that I went to Augustine with,
mhm,
where I didn't realize she did so many backhanded compliment things as she did until I was alone with her for that long. I
mhm,
mean, with nowhere to go in the car, I've got her in the car with me for
mhm.
5 hours. I mean, it's like she couldn't say one good thing about me without backing it up with something negative.
But you look really nice today, but
Yeah,
and then add whatever.
exactly. Or, I know you can't eat very much, but you sure did eat that chicken strip. It's like, I had a chicken nugget, but thanks.
Oh, Lord. Like I like that's what I was going to say. There are two things. Like I said, first of all, how do you want to be treated? Other people, and I've said this to many people, it doesn't matter what it is, even people that have low self-confidence. And that's usually what happens with people that are narcissists. That's why they put out these grandiose behaviors and whatever. It's almost like it's a big shield or mask they're wearing,
Mm-hmm.
but there's usually low self-confidence. And it's a big awakening to a lot of people to realize all those thoughts that you think in your head that are negative, or the names maybe you call yourself, or
Mm-hmm.
the really awful things you say to yourself. And I always say we say the worst things to ourselves that most people wouldn't say.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Everybody else feels the same way. They're having those same kind of thoughts in
Mm-hmm.
their head, those same kind of self doubts, those same fears, maybe different fears that are making them act a different way. But it's a real reality check for some people to realize that no, there's no way they can be thinking like I do. Yeah, everybody pretty well has that inner voice that can be really nasty. It's, if you want to be, sometimes it's the ego.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of self-doubt, and it all boils down to fear.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Fear is the forerunner of failure.
Hmm.
And if you are setting out the gate in fear, you're really not going to succeed because you're setting yourself up to fail. So I invite people to go out of the door. I mean, even just leaving your bedroom door, knowing that you're going to do something right today. Like, you may not have poured the cereal correctly, but you definitely didn't spill the milk, you know,
Or you even
small things.
or like I said, you know what? Even procrastinating, it's fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these things. And at first, I wanted to argue this when it first came out, that this is, it all boils down to fear. And I was like, no, like when someone's like a Karen, like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you afraid of? Like, what was going on in your life that made you act like that? When you boil it all down and you take away the false bravado, the loud behavior,
The
the rude,
hatefulness.
the hateful, whatever it may be, it's all down to some kind of fear. Now, whether
Mm-hmm.
you are fearful that people, maybe don't feel good about yourself, maybe you want people to realize that you maybe base your self-esteem on the money that you have or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's all circumstantial materialism. You can't take it with you. So
Nope.
I don't, and then you wonder, your children model what a parent, you know, does, especially from the age of 0
Mm-hmm.
to 7. They're like a sponge. So you imagine, like, how many more, like I keep saying, like, are we going to keep perpetuating this and it's going to be growing exponentially? Because you see that how, say it's your mother or your father that's acting that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what are you going to do? Because I know people close to me that act like that. And I know that a lot of it comes from being upset and having people do horrible things to them in their life. But you know what? You
Hmm.
need to quit fighting battles that are gone and lost.
Hmm.
You're not in that battle anymore. You can't go out into the world armed for every situation and just think that you're, as soon as somebody steps up to you, that you're going to start swinging, because that's essentially what you're doing. That you may not be doing it with a weapon, but words can be as worse
Much,
than any weapon.
much worse. They leave scars that people don't see and they don't heal. You know,
Mhm.
I love this analogy, and I think it comes from an old Japanese proverb that if you take a plate and you drop it and it shatters, can you put that back together? Maybe, maybe not, but it's never going to be like it was before. That's kind of like when you have words that come out of your mouth. They can shatter another person, they can cut them.
Mhm.
You can apologize, but you can't take it back. What you've said is what you've said, and
Mhm.
they wound people deeply. And we've all been hurt. We've all been wounded. You get to our age, especially. I'm not saying we're ancient. What I'm saying is, at adulthood, you're going to have wounds. You're going to have scars. You're going to have all kinds of things. And even as a light worker, part of the thing is sometimes, it's been proven by science that the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with, It doesn't have to be a spouse or a girlfriend or whatever,
Mhm.
your boyfriend, even people at work. But the 5 people you spend the majority of your time with, you start to become very much like them.
Mhm.
And so, say you decide you want to change, maybe you're going off in a different direction. There's going to be people that aren't going to like that.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to do relationship, um, if you will, appraisal. And you sometimes you got to cut people out of your life. You're going in a different path.
Yep.
Hmm.
Exactly. And you need to start understanding the people that just don't want to be a part of your life, or they don't want to be a functional, let's say, part of your life. And if they only are bringing you down, you're going to have that hard conversation with yourself. How much are you worth? I mean, you need to understand that you need to start speaking out of love for yourself and have enough respect for yourself to cut people loose who are dragging you down.
Yeah, another, I'm full of analogies tonight here, or quotes, but there's another one that said that, you know, if everybody around you is not treating you well, maybe it's time to look at the price tag you placed on yourself.
Mhm.
So, which means that are you like I said, I mentioned it myself, and we go all around the world again and back here. But
Yeah.
you know, that's one thing that I'm really starting to do is starting to set boundaries. Before there was a lot of things I would have done. Was I a doormat? No. It just, you didn't want to be mean, you didn't want to be rude, and then I started asking myself some questions. For example, you I've had the strangest messages from people that never talk to me unless they want something. Never ever.
Mhm.
Or you know what? I'm having a really crappy day. And these are their words, not mine. Laura's really positive. I thought, who can I call and dump everything on you, or message you and what do you think I should do about this? Or what does spirit say about this? Or what does you know what? The one question I asked myself was, if I was having the same issue, would I call this person or would I do that? No. Do I hear
Mhm.
from them when they're not having an issue or a crappy day or whatever? No. So you
Mhm.
started to look at boundaries, and it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you don't care
No.
or whatever. But again, I think you hit the nail on the head, Sarah. We have to have self-love. And I think that a relationship is give and take. And when there's just people that take, you know what? Sometimes it's time to say no more or put your foot down.
Mhm.
Shannon says here. I find it takes far less energy to build someone up than it does to tear them down. Agreed.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is definitely agreed. But the thing is, it's like when you have these people and like you start making these um discoveries about certain things that they do. It's like you may not say things when you first figure it out and you just let it go. And then it becomes a little bit annoying over time. And then a couple years go by and you realize this person is toxic AF
Hmm.
and does nothing but bemoan and complain and, you know,
Play the victim.
yeah, thank you. I was just thinking that, play the victim, and these people quit talking to me and I'm so lonely. It's like, do you ever think about that the people quit talking to you because you're a douche?
Hmm. But the problem is that, and I say this with anything in life, it's so easy to see what the issue is from the outside looking in.
Mhm.
The hardest thing is to hold a mirror up to ourselves and be truthful. Not
Mhm.
not beat yourself up, but be truthful about what's going on here. But again, if you are dealing with somebody that's a narcissist, and again, I'm not qualified to diagnose, but it's pretty easy to see when somebody is,
Mhm.
all the signs and symptoms. It's not in them to be able to see what the issue is. It is not in them to like you mentioned, Sarah, it's always everybody else's fault. They will never, ever, ever be able to see that, which is very, very sad, actually.
Yeah, and unfortunate, because then they're just going to sit there and go, well, why is it like this? Oh, I don't know. And I still try to figure, it's not that I'm better or anything like that, but I try to put myself in the shoes of the person who's acting like a Karen or acting like a,
Mhm.
like a narcissist from hell, and which sometimes is one and the same. And you try to figure out why they are the way they are. And you're like, they must have lived their entire life in some capacity like that, where
Mhm.
somebody's always been watching out for them in some way to keep
Mhm.
them from getting the crap kicked out of them for
Mhm.
being a jackass. They
Well,
can't be that charmed.
that or they pick people that they know because they
Mhm.
have a type, especially if it's like a narcissist that's a Karen or a Kyle. They have a
Mhm.
And especially if they're an older person. Back then, divorce wasn't really the option that it is nowadays.
Mhm.
So you really start to feel for that significant other that maybe was with them,
Mhm.
because that takes a lot to unpack and unravel and heal, if you can even heal it, because a lot of damage gets done.
Mhm.
And the same thing with a Karen. And I've said this before on the show, and I know you have. The city I live in, 100,000 people. There's businesses I like to go to. You get to know the people, you get to see them, whatever. But if there's somebody that's really nasty,
Mhm.
I do usually try to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if I'm back in there and I see that again, and then maybe another time and I see it again, that's when I will take the time to speak to a manager and say, listen, this is my experience. Try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Some people do have a crappy day on their way to work. And though you should
Mhm.
be home at home and work at work, not everybody is capable of doing that.
Mhm.
But because then you know what, you realize that there's a lot bigger issue here than just seeing somebody having a bad day.
Mhm.
I, I, we haven't seen any Karen stories shared here. I was hoping that maybe some people would be able to share some personal stories. So one thing I do want to say, I was thinking about this, two things. One of them is, I wonder if they'll ever do a study to see people that are Karens or Kyles, and if they really do live their life like that all the time, very self entitled, very negative. Wonder if they
Mhm.
attract more strange and unusual paranormal phenomena with that negative energy, that negative
Mhm.
attitude, psychic vampire sucking the life out of everybody.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, that's funny that you say that, because I was getting ready to say, where does all this energy go if you're
Mhm.
spewing that kind of nasty
Mhm.
energy into the air? Where is it going? Because energy doesn't dissipate.
That's
It's
right.
it's a constant.
Mhm.
So what happens to it?
I don't know, it can be transferred from one place to another, or
Mhm.
is there something we know? And you, of all people, have made me aware of this, that, people feel quite safe in the light. Well, there's a lot more that goes on in the light than people are aware of.
Oh
Not
yeah.
at 3 a.m. in the dark, which people believe it's 3 a.m. somewhere always in the world.
Mhm.
Um, so we know it can be transferred from one place to another. We also know that lower vibrational negative type entities feed on this kind of energy. They love.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that all of these people spewing, even if they're not Karens or Kyles, just people being nasty for
Mm,
no reason at all. That's, I mean, like you said before, it's like you need to think before you unleash that. Was it even constructive for you to say what you said at the time? I mean, we have such closed consciousness, considering that we half of us should be woken up by now,
mhm,
that you would think people be a lot more tolerant, but now we're just in this, it's like a hate spiral of disinformation, where we've got even people who live alternative lifestyles getting on the Karen wagon with disinformation. And it's like, wait, what are you doing?
mhm.
It's like, do you not realize you're basically taking a baseball bat to everything that you're trying to live for, and you don't know that you're destroying it yourself
I
as a Karen Okay.
I agree with you, but I've been I was thinking about this while you were speaking. Part of this is like, I know in Canada that it's always been strongly encouraged by our government to narc on your neighbor. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter whether it's with what's going on right now, doesn't matter if people are defrauding the government with welfare fraud or whatever it is, and there's always a little kickback for you when you do it. So there's incentive there. There's a lot of people, depending on your age group and who you are and what, that uh, may only, think that the government is your friend. You know, that
That's cute.
the
The
news,
government's your friend.
yeah, they're going to look after you, and the news is the God honest truth out there. And because that's what we're seeing. There's so much, like you said, a lot, or we were talking a little bit, or I was thinking this, sorry, my brain's going all over here. I was seeing comments. Is the fact that there's so much misinformation out there. And depending on what source is feeding the Karen, because that's been my biggest thing is because you have this belief because of what you've read or what you've followed, that you now think that it's okay um, to attack other people because of
Mm-hmm.
your belief. And I again, I have such a hard time understanding this, where you think that the whole world revolves around you. Like
Mm-hmm.
at CVS in this video, you had two things to get, two
Mm-hmm.
things, and you hold up the line for 35, 40 minutes, screaming and yelling, knowing that you're being videotaped.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you only had two things to get, aren't you maybe in a little bit of a hurry? But you got to
Yeah,
spend
right.
minutes arguing when all you had to do, put a mask on, you would have been in out in 30 seconds. Take it
Mm-hmm.
off. Hmm.
Exactly. And what happens, like, have you seen the Karen videos of some people that are differently abled that need service animals have started to keep a cam on their animal to survey the people around them,
Oh, wow.
because people are like yelling and screaming at them, well, I have allergies and you should be able to have your dog indoors. It's like, well, I'm allergic to stupid people, but you're still alive.
Oh, my goodness.
Who does that? I about wanted to crawl under a rug for that person. Oh my gosh. And you're going to say, "Oh, well, that person allowed to have that dog and I'm sick and I have allergies to that animal and you need to get it out of the store." So that person, you're saying, doesn't have the right to get groceries just like you do because it's making you need a Claritin.
Oh,
Oh my Lord, what is wrong with you that you want to spend 5 to 15 minutes of your day yelling and screaming at somebody who really didn't need that kind of attention? Number one. Number two, it's none of your business. Go about your business, Becky, and leave people alone.
like, go to another aisle. Go
Yeah,
go to the other part of the store. Like,
exactly. Go to the pharmacy and find another Karen to hump.
yes, I like that. Or just mind business. Like, why is it your business? I don't get it. I used to have this neighbor, you know all about this, Sarah, and she lived for gossip.
Oh, that one was
She
horrible.
evil. She knew everything that was going on in that neighborhood and delighted in it. And before I realized that I was sensitive to that kind of thing, I could never understand why I never wanted to be around her. I could only stand maybe to be around her about a minute or two, because I
Hmm.
just felt so drained when I was around her. And I just don't get it. Like, why? Maybe, and I'm not naive about people.
Hmm.
It's just, to me, and again, common sense. Would How would you want somebody to treat you like that? Probably not. So
No,
why
and
is it okay for you to treat other people that way?
you know how if it became open season on whatever I feel like, there would be a lot of people in trouble. I mean,
Mhm.
seriously. I hold back so much. when I'm out and about. I mean, I've got people that are like, you should wear a webcam and start just randomly talking to people who upset you. And it's like, yeah, but then I would be like an opposite of Karen. It would be the Seraphine effect,
Yeah.
where I'm walking around letting people know that that is just not cool. Like, you don't go around, making fun of people because they're different from you, or you don't go around tagging people who have, you know, who are differently abled, and then tell them that they can't stand in line with their service animal because you're allergic. Who does that? I
I
mean,
just okay.
I just think it just blows my mind that you would actually sit there and think of yourself first. It's like, not that that person needs that animal or anything like that, because you've seen service animals before. They've got the little service vest on and everything, and it's none of your business. In fact, by law, you can't ask why that person has a service animal. The only person that can actually even ask that question is a court circuit judge.
Mhm.
You can't actually ask them why they have one,
Well,
or even question it.
I was just thinking, I wonder if they thought I was a Karen. I was at this store that I shop at quite a bit, and it was dead. And I remember it was actually Dollarama. It was dollar store. I like to go.
Mhm.
I pick up a lot of interesting brand name. I'm not a cheapo here, but
Mhm.
half stuff and whatever for my craft stash. And I actually got the Dell in there one night, and I didn't get. He didn't want to get a cart. And the mate, one of the full time employees, she was so sweet. I kept dropping things. She goes, "You usually grab a cart." She goes, "Let me get you a cart, right?" So I happened to pop in there last week. The store was dead. It was an hour before closing. They had a security guard, this little teeny tiny girl, probably about 5 feet tall, 80 pounds soaking wet,
Oh,
and didn't speak English. And then they had another gentleman in plain clothes in there. No, get down, baby. Daddy shouldn't have let you in here. He did. So sorry, guys. So, anyways, as I'm walking around, and I said hello to the security guard, and she
Mhm.
scowled at me. Okay, maybe she's having a bad night. And then all of a sudden, everywhere I am, this girl is there. And she's following me and she's scowling at me.
Mm.
And then I've got the plain clothes guy, and I'm thinking, this is odd. They both are not from Canada, and I'm not being
Mhm.
this here. Please don't think I am. And they're following me around everywhere I'm going. Everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere. And they're side eyeing me and they're scowling at me. And I'm thinking, hey, I shop at the store all the time. I don't steal things. I never have. And not
Right.
expected the whole world to know me. That's not what it is.
Mhm.
But and it was getting really disgusting because the two of them were coming at both ends of the aisles at me. Like it didn't matter where I went. And finally, I went through the checkout. I didn't bother anybody. I was self checkout. And I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to say something. So I did. And I said,
Mhm.
you know what? I really didn't appreciate being treated like I'm going to rip off your store. I said,
Mhm.
your store quite a few times during the month I'm in here. I said, I know a lot of your employees. They're very kind.
Mhm.
And I said, that was a little excessive. That's all I said. And I left. So I wasn't trying to be a Karen. I wasn't screaming and yelling.
Mhm.
I thought it needed to be said because I noticed I was there tonight and I noticed that their regular full time employee was there. There was none of this BS. So, what was this all about?
Yeah, exactly. And I actually,
Hmm.
that's happened to me last time I've gone to like Joann's and Michael's, and it's like I've
Hmm.
felt kind of crummy the last couple times I went out. And so I was just wearing my hoodie
Hmm.
and like some leggings and whatever. So I wasn't like looked like an unmade bed, but I wasn't dressed the nines
Hmm.
either. And so I'm walking around and I'm like really aware, because I used to do security work
Hmm.
uh back in the day, that I'm being followed. And it's like, really, why are you following me? I'm going to make sure that I pay for everything that I pick up, so why are you following me around?
Hmm.
And you know and then later I get to the checkout, and the attendant always goes, well, did you find everything all right? And I'm like, yeah, as usual, I find a couple extra things. But
Hmm.
by the way, I'm
Good.
like, you might want to let your store security people know when they see me to just leave me alone, because I always pay for my stuff. It's
Mhm.
like it was a little disconcerting that this person was so far up my rear end
Mhm.
that if I turn a corner too hard, that'd probably break their nose.
Well, the thing is, it was the same security guard again tonight.
Oh,
I took a
jeez.
look at her, I smiled at her, and she was doing a little bit of that tonight, starting just a wee bit, and then I
Hmm.
I let her know that I knew she was there. So, hello, I see you.
Yes, I'm not blind, by the way.
Hmm. And but then I noticed one of their full-time employees. It was nowhere near to the excessiveness. There's all these security, they can't do anything anyways. They're not allowed to touch you. If you I found this out at our liquor store. The Dell and I were in line,
Excuse
and they had a security guard there, and somebody was in line before us, and grabbed a 40 ounces bottle of premium alcohol and walked out of the store right in front of everybody. And I said, aren't you guys going to do anything? They go, no, we're not allowed to. We'll be fired if we do, because it
me.
has to do with workers' compensation. It's like, why do you have security guards? Like, they can't do it either. They don't carry guns here. They can't do anything
Hmm.
about it. So, like I said, it wasn't like I was trying to be a Karen. It was just to the point that this was excessive.
Yeah.
So I let this girl know, look, I see you. I don't. I didn't say don't keep doing it, but I let her know. No.
Hmm.
Hmm. I just looked at her and said, I see you.
Yeah, and I don't understand why that is. Oh, and I didn't get a chance to tell you, this is, we're running out of time. Um, it's like so many things happened like before when I was dyeing my, because I, for a better part of 25 years I'd been dyeing my hair black, but I've since not only cut all of it off, I'm growing it back out, but my let my hair grow naturally, which is the opposite
Mhm.
of black. It is platinum blonde, which is
Right.
naturally my hair color.
Hmm.
And so I was sitting in my car with my friend, and this person crossed in front of us in the crosswalk, and he crossed himself, looked right at me and like crossed himself. And it's like, I'm not wearing anything but like a black top and black pants, and I my sunglasses aren't even on my face, they're on the top of my head, because it was just dim enough to be annoying, not bright enough to need sunglasses. And he just gives me this weird look and then crosses himself. It's like, yes, I still have it.
Oh, thank God. One more reason why we don't live in the same city, because you and I would be out trying that ring with the fishing line and the hocus pocus. I know we would.
That's so funny.
What the heck? He crosses. He should have said, God bless you.
I know, right? But the look of fear on his face was like I legitimately must have looked like Satan or something to this dude. I don't know what, but you just look. And then my friend is like, "What is wrong with this dude?" I'm like, "I have no idea, but he sure is afraid of me."
I probably would have yelled out the window, thank you for the blessing.
Yes, Satan loves you.
Actually, Marla Ventura last night, she was talking about a few, because Dell talked about this disgusting tattoo that he's seen. It's this girl had a tattoo of a doll down below, and the doll's parts were her parts. It was just,
Ew.
yes, very gross. And once Varla saw it, she sort of heard about it. And then when she saw the picture, oh my Lord, that is disturbing on every level. And it is. But then she came up with some ideas about on air about some of the things she'd like to get tattooed. One of the things she said, I couldn't stop laughing, was I think she said it on air. I'm positive she did. She goes something like getting it tattooed on your butt, your like you're higher up on your butt cheek, going, "Not today, Satan," or things like that. I thought it was hilarious. And then she was thinking, because she has a store open, she wants to have an underwear line and put some really, really funny things she was talking about on the underwear. I thought, well, that's a really good idea, actually.
Hmm.
Speaking of that, before we go, I do want to mention I'm going to be starting something new with the Angel Rock. I hope it's okay to mention on here, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned a little bit last night, but um, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try and do this about once a month. We're going to have people message or write in. I'm going to give you the email. If you've got a question for spirit, you've got a question about the paranormal, whatever it may be, and we're going to read your letters. And then whoever shows up, we'll advertise it. But I'd love to start doing some readings on air. This actually came from Lois. I'm going to give her a shout out. We were chatting off line, Lois T. Martin. I know Shannon mentioned her,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, no, I don't ever talk about it. We don't even usually, we every time we try and do readings, we have a few people usually, but all our other listeners are live, but they don't migrate to our chat room here. So I thought if people want to email in, then we'll have a night once a month where can answer questions. I can do whatever you like with that. So if you want to email me, my email is angelrock1508 at gmail.com. Please put in the
Oh
subject.
no, I think Lorilei, did you freeze
Did I? Oh no.
or something going on with StreamYard here?
I don't know.
That's kind of weird.
Did I freeze? Here, let me move. Is that better? Hello.
There you are.
I don't know of course, because I'm mentioning all this, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, if you guys do have any questions, or maybe, you've had a paranormal experience you want to share, or whatever that may be, please email me at theangelrock1508 at gmail.com. Please put in the subject line, rocking with the angels, and question, and I'll know because I'll look for that. I wanted to add that quickly before I forgot. So I hope that's okay, Sarah.
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, thank you.
And
I
we are coming to the end of our time, it looks like.
Actually, Shannon said no freezing here.
That was weird.
Hmm. I do
Yeah,
want.
froze.
We got a few minutes. I was just going to read her comments if that's okay.
Oh yeah.
She says, I got to find it here. Oh, sorry. At first, it's Zach. He said, "I always follow the golden rule: treat others the way you would want to be treated." Absolutely. And then Shannon says, when I've had bad customer service in places, I will ask the person if they've had a bad day. I find it sometimes makes them more aware they are being rude. I am not a Karen. No, you're definitely not a Karen, Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I will ask people. Yeah, I will if I have the time, because I find that if you ask somebody that and it's not busy, I'm going to be there for a half hour. I've had it happen.
Yeah.
And that she said, I will go above and beyond to defend someone being attacked by a Kyle or a Karen.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So that's being fair. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So it sounds like, so are you going to go back to St. Augustine's again before? Because we've got some strange. No, I don't know if you've heard them. I think we haven't had this in a while, Sarah. I think we've had some EVPs tonight.
Oh, good.
Mm.
Cool. We'll have to go back through and check it out.
When you were first talking about St. Augustine, I didn't get a chance to say this to you. It almost sounded like between a squeak and a growl.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear that. And then I've heard it almost sounds like a man's voice coming in over. I don't know if it got picked up on, either on Facebook or. Oh, actually, Shannon says, I've noticed a few things cutting in and out. Yeah, that's what I've been noticing too, Shannon. Have you heard it at all, Sarah?
No, not on my end. I haven't.
Yeah, I have too. So we'll probably have to go back through the feed and listen. But I think
Mm-hmm.
there's been some. We used to get that all the time, and we haven't had it in a long time.
Hmm.
You don't suppose you picked up somebody bringing them along home here, or they followed you home, do you?
I don't know. I haven't really seen anything so far except for having the what I think is interdimensional slippage um, from earlier with the shirt not being there to being there and then both shirts not being there. It's like a time kind of like loop.
I have a good feeling about that little girl. I don't.
Well, when I say little girl, she wasn't little, like I would say teenager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't have a good feeling about her. It was really interesting. It was on the Horsefly Chronicles. They're going to be on next Monday on my show.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I'm not trying to promote the heck out of myself here, but there's a reason why I mention it. They were asking me to do a few readings, and then they asked me, are there any spirits here? And so I let them know. And it's interesting you said the same thing about this girl. I said, I can tell you sort of what I'm picking up, but I said, I'm not really feeling into this because I don't want to, because their story is very, very, very similar to ours. And demonic entities and stuff. So I said, I hope you can appreciate that. Oh, I knew. I was waiting for her to ask
Mm-hmm.
Shannon, Sarah, did you see your cowboy? What a good way to end.
Actually, no.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. And haven't I can sense him around when he's around, but he hasn't really been making his presence known since I've been in the new apartment for almost 2 years now, but I haven't he's around, but not as his presence isn't as dominant.
Maybe the energy from when you were there with the person that was with you, maybe kind of just because, well, plus you didn't stay in your usual space that you usually stay, right?
No, it's I stay in the same hotel, just not in the same area
That's
of
what
the
I meant,
hotel.
like the area. Sorry, I didn't use the right word, area. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like a buzzkill when you're with somebody who really kind of drags the whole situation, and it's like knowing full out that the person that I was bringing with me was not into the paranormal and never will be. I mean, but I even brought her to, I mean, certain places, and you know, I don't expect my friend to want to be um in within paranormal anything, and but I do always preface with because of what I do and because of, well, kind of what happens around me, that it's very possible that you might see something. Not even might, you will at some point experience.
Shannon said he probably didn't want to be around your friend either.
They're right, because she's such a killjoy. But
Now we're
I
out of
just, yeah, I'm just still taken aback by the amount and the level of oh my god, Karenness from that that trip.
Karen. Poor people that are named Karens that really aren't Karens, because
I
I'm
know, right? The
not
anti
a Karen.
It's the anti Karen.
I know she's not a Karen. She's not even close to a Karen, but she is named Karen.
Quick, make a circle out of chocolate syrup in fives.
God. Well, Zach says, awesome show tonight. Have a good night, everybody, and see y'all next week. Love and light to y'all. Same back to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys for participating. We really enjoy your listenership. You guys are all awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We love having you here.
Yes.
Definitely. So, do you want to let people know where to find you, Sarah?
I am Saraphine Hurley, the Saraphine Hurley, the only Saraphine Hurley, often imitated but never intimidated. You can find me where all social media is found under Saraphine Hurley or the Saraphine Hurley, thesaraphinehurley.com. And tag me if you ever need anything or want questions answered or having a show idea. Here I
Absolutely.
am.
Absolutely. Good idea. And especially for us too, because if there's something you guys want us to talk about or whatever, please let us know. We'd be happy to do a show on it.
Yep,
hmm
definitely.
And you can find me on Monday nights from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time with the Angel Rock. Next week, I have the Philip and Julia Syracusa from the Horsefly Chronicles. It's going to be an interesting paranormal show. And if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can find me on facebook.com/the Angel Rock
Hmm.
meeting, whatever. So thank you all for being here. We love you.
Yes. Yes, we love you. And good night and good morning,
Or
wherever
good
you are.
wherever you may be. We'll see you next week.